my mind. I look for peace, but seem to don't attain. What I need for keeps the silly game we play. Now look at this. Man, it's the man that keeps attracting me. I try to run, but see I'm not that fast. I think I'm first, but surely finish last. Cause day and night, the lonely stoner seems to free his mind at night. He's all alone, some things will never change. The lonely loner seems to free his mind at night. Peace, family. It's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Today is the winter solstice. Today is the precursor to the full moon, which happens tomorrow. A lot of energy that I want to talk about, a lot of things that I want to discuss. I probably won't be able to discuss it all, but I'm going to try my best to explain it. So there's a lot going on astrologically, and I don't necessarily know if that transfers into your personal life, but if it is a lot of stuff transferring into your personal life, then maybe you could look to the stars for some form of resolution. And so it's just been so much that I've been trying to really process, that trying to figure out where to begin is really the hardest part. But let me just begin with saying peace to everybody on the live. Thank you for joining me as we begin to delve into this study, delve into this astrology, if you would like to call it, and later we'll deal with some tarot and, you know, end the video. Really don't have time for questions. That's probably going to be a Wednesday and Thursday thing. But other than that, let's just deal real quick with where Venus is. Venus is caught up in another learning triangle. Last week she was caught up in another learning triangle, and with this learning triangle there are some things that are rising up that are needing to be dealt with, so you could actually learn from it as opposed to it kicking your ass every day. So Venus is in 12 sign astrology, Scorpio, but she's in sidereal Libra. But the interesting thing about Libra is that Libra is actually Scorpio in the ancient astrology. This actual part of Libra is part of Scorpio's claw. The actual star that Venus is conjunct is called Zuba Nel Ganubi. Now, you're gonna have to forgive me for my pronunciation, but that's why I printed it, so you can kind of do some research for yourself on this fixed star, which Venus, as we can clearly see, is majorly conjunct this star. Now, for Venus to be conjunct this star is going to show up in a particular way. It may show up as an ending to a marriage or an ending to a relationship. Now, I kind of sent some fillers out on Facebook yesterday, and people was getting back to me like, yeah, it's a lot of different things that's happening in relationships now. Not to scare anyone, but if you're in a dharmic relationship with your partner, meaning that you guys have spiritual union with each other, spiritual communion, spiritual consummation, you love each other, you ride or die, you guys share the same spirit, this is not for you. This is specifically for the people who are involved in karmic relationships that have no purpose in that relationship. That relationship ain't going nowhere. You guys are not equally yoked. You guys are not spiritually tied. You just been together for a long ass time. You just comfortable with each other, so much so that y'all comfortable with judging each other, and therefore there is no growth in this relationship. So Venus conjunct this particular star says And it's all about developing your interpersonal relationships. Therefore, if you're in a karmic relationship, you're in a personal relationship. You're in a monogamous relationship. Monogamous, if you look up the etymology, just means single and alone. And this is specifically for an individual that is considered himself to be conscious, or herself to be conscious and aware and living in truth. But then you sign a piece of paper and that makes everything mindful and truthful, when spiritually, consciousness probably don't give a damn about that piece of paper that you signed 20-something years ago. So the idea of interpersonal relationships is to communicate to other people, have positive communication between people. In some relationships have just simply run that course where that interpersonal relationship with the individual can no longer develop because that person is shell-shocked within that relationship. So it's very easy to figure out what relationships need to end and what relationships need to, just the relationships that just simply are. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter because the dharmic relationship is there, or maybe it's just not the time for that relationship to end, particularly now. But there is a level of karmic relationships based on the astrology that are ending real quick. And now it's like, why is this happening? What is the purpose? And the real simple solution is because that relationship is karmic and not dharmic, and the energy is probably doing something that you're not strong enough to do. And oh my goodness, that's just one level of the learning triangle. As we know, a learning triangle has 3 planets involved and 3 aspects: an inconjunction and a square. So Venus being in conjunct the moon, conjunct Aldebaran. And let me just say, moving forward, this is one of the most interesting winter solstices ever presented to us in a while, based upon, sorry, my nose got itchy, based upon its conjunction to fix major stars, like various planets and things of that nature. Things just settling out in the universe. Things just kind of like sitting back, plotting, waiting for something. And it's all brewing and it's all coming together. And it's not based upon it's not all good, basically. Let me just say that. Because if I was to be up here every day talking about the future or the daily energy, and I said every day was cheery, every day was beautiful and things of that nature, then I would be full of shit. The reality is that there are light days and dark days, and the dark days create the passageway for the light ways, and these are our darkest days. Literally, figuratively, relatively, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, astrologically, astronomically, darkest days. So therefore, how do you work and how do you deal with the darkness? Do you crumble up and die and roll up into the fetal position and just wait for it to be over? Or do you engage? Because with negative thinking and where the moon's positioned at, that negative thinking is a force. That negative thinking is a power. And so the idea of everything that we've been talking about, everything we've been building throughout this week to be emotionally sound, not let external events cloud you or determine how you should feel on the inside, is not for no reason. It's for a specific reason, so you can sort of prepare yourself. Do I want bad things to happen? No. And do I think that bad things are going to happen to everybody? Absolutely not. But the idea is to let go and to understand that things happen. And another thing that I want to stress across is that this is not me and my personal feelings towards astrology or nothing like that. This is just what I'm actually studying. So as I'm studying it and regurgitating it, I gotta put specific disclaimers upon it, because therefore you have to understand that you personally create your reality. I do not create your reality. And the reason that I'm talking about astrology is because that seems like a good center point that we can meet. I didn't create the fact that Venus is conjunct Zuba, the largest star in Libra, sidereal Libra. When you look up at Venus, everybody on the planet must bear witness to Venus's conjunction to Zuba Nagelbi. And if they got problems in their relationship, maybe they should bear witness to the fact of, okay, maybe it's something with this astrology shit that is there and I just don't understand it, but it for sure is there. And that's just up to you to decide. And so this energy in conjunct the moon is really misunderstanding the fact that karmic relationships do not have to be. You can make better decisions outside of karma and walk yourself into dharma. And if a relationship does not feel right, that's an indication that the relationship is karmic. An individual must be strong enough to step away, especially if you're conscious. You don't know how much energy has been placed before you to stop you from your purpose. And if you haven't done the journey to the spiritual master with your partner, and the spiritual master telling you and your partner, hey, it's gonna be so much energy to separate you and your wife. You need to be prepared for that. And at the time, I did not know what the fuck this man was talking about. Now I completely get it. Based upon this work, based upon what I do, the energy is very strong to tear apart my union. But if I had never went to a Pergino or something, I would have got a big head or thought something of it. But now I realize what it is. I've always realized what it is, and anything that happens between me and my wife that tries to separate us, it ends up making us stronger because we're spiritually yoked. And anything that happens to us on a spiritual level, we're warned about it, and we may notice it and we may feel it a little bit, but at the same time, we're strongly guided and strongly purposed. We're living in our purpose. Our relationship is dharmic. It's very important. And so the square to this energy, the square to this freedom, where Venus in a specific spot is getting to the root of your problems and freeing you. That's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing. You should pop champagne throughout the winter solstice, but you don't like change. You afraid of change. You don't know how to change. You afraid of what people gonna think of you. So you caught up in a subjective view of me, I, illusion. The I in illusion stands for illusion, like illusions, illusion, right? To be objective is to, you know, have a overseeing view of your life, that anything that happens to you does not create the semblance of death or the semblance of being over, because you are a spiritual being. And even in this life, when you lose things, you can bounce back. So forth and so on. To be objective about shit is letting go of shit that don't really serve you, and you don't know if it serves you or not. You know if it serves you or not if it's away from you. If it's not in your spirit or if it's not in your space, let it go. because this whole solstice is about removing the things that are negative to you. So you should be able to come to a standstill, a point of nothingness, and have everything that you want and everything that you need and not want for more. That's the idea of the solstice. If you still feel like you need more and you're trying to get this, and if you just had a little bit more money, if you just had a better job, the relationship will work out, the job will work out, your kids will start acting better. Yeah, you're not there yet. You need to go through this winter solstice and let it be what it's gonna be. And maybe the summer solstice, you can have a different vibration, but you cannot go into this energy with, I need this very bad. We went into this energy year after year after year after year with that Christmas shit about what we needed and created this vibration so strong. And I'm talking, and it might not be for you. This conversation might not be for you, but this conversation is for people who went through this winter solstice or Christmas break with really wanting a fucking Nintendo 64. Really wanting a Dreamcast. Really wanting them pair of jeans so you could stunt on the first day back to school. Really wanting those shoes. Psychologically, spiritually, mentally, using this solstice energy to power capitalism, when you very well could have used this energy to empower your spirit, to empower your family. So this is the square to this energy. And so this is what we're trying to learn throughout this energy, or this learning triangle between Venus, the moon, and Neptune. Neptune in Pisces is speaking to karma and letting karma play out and being observing shit. And to the point of, if you've been working hard this year, if you've been actually bettering yourself, taking risks, doing things you don't normally do, coming out of your shell, then living your rewards. And when you see people that's living their best life, enjoying themselves, don't be jealous. Just know that 2019, you have an opportunity to work on yourself. You know, 2017, me and my wife, we made the vow to start living clean, to live cleaner. We gave up meat for a time, and, you know, we gave up like all types of extra shit that we just used to do. We started drinking more water and, you know, developing our spirituality, you know, and that was 2017. 2018, we started to work on our chakras, like for real, like daily, together, each chakra. And we was riding that wave all of 2018. Now 2019, we just have the goal to be more mobile, to be just up and out, to just be more out there and just doing more things in just the world and throughout the planet. So the goal really with this Neptune and Pisces is really to develop this clarity, or to develop this spirituality. And throughout this clarity, throughout this spirituality, there is no drama in your life. There should be no more drama in your life. So the question is, now that drama is leaving out of your life, are you going to follow it? Or are you just going to let it walk out of your life like it's supposed to? And I feel like we all need to have a fundamental understanding of the difference between karma and dharma in thought. When people say that karma don't exist, it's like saying the rain don't exist, or it's not the fact of karma, whether karma exists or not, but do you understand the concept of karma, dharma, moksha, and samsara? That's like, is like, no, karma does not exist by itself. You can easily say you don't believe in rain, but when you walk outside and the moisture and little droplets is hitting you bit by bit, you cannot call it rain. You can call it something completely different. You like, that's not rain. This is clearly little droplets of water spraying down upon me. I'm not going to call it rain, and therefore rain doesn't exist. And you could do that constantly. So that's what people say when they say karma doesn't exist. They're taking it out of full context, and they're not dealing with the reality of everything that's being said within the confines of the conversation. So there's no way that I could begin to discuss karma in full detail, dharma in full detail on this live. What I can do is try to, you know, show this kind of slide, and whether you're on the live or your post live, you can pause it, kind of take your own notes to it, do your own research, and get a full understanding of being in a karmic relationship versus a dharmic relationship, where people say, I want a soulmate, but what have you done to develop your soul? And is your partner vibrating on the level of a soulmate, or is that partner just dealing with you in the level of the flesh? All relationships that exist in the realm of flesh and outside of spiritual compatibility is a karmic relationship. And is all karmic relationships going to end over the weekend? Absolutely not. But a few of them are more than normal. And so it's going to come across as arguments or stress or I'm tired of you or whatever the case may be, when the reality is two people just need to come together and realize that we're not meant for each other and we need to separate. And let's be adults about it, as opposed to, you know, trying to think that this thing is a Hollywood romantic movie or some shit. Just let things go and everything will be okay. Especially when it comes to relationships that don't fit you or don't give you a positive feeling, because you very well could be in a situation that is so good for you and so wholesome that the fact that you spent time in a toxic relationship will make you like scratch your head like, why did I do that? But peace to everybody on the live. Thanks for joining me this morning. So the card of the day is the Nine of Swords. In the Thoth Tarot deck, they call this card cruelty. Cruelty in the sense that you are cruel to yourself when you don't deal with your suppressed emotions and repressed emotions and your truth in your relationships and with yourself. So many people look good on the surface, but you know, when they lay down and go to sleep, this is what we see, this picture. Head and hands. They don't understand. They try and try to be, to look, to feel, to think. But the reality is that sometimes you just have to really just simply deal with what you're running away from. And no amount of looks and respect and reverement is gonna amount to you addressing that which bothers or disturbs your soul. And when you have undealt with trauma and anxiety and things of that nature, it's always going to throw you off. It's always going to make you show up as unreliable, because you just never can trust yourself, because you never know what's going to trigger you, or you are this person who is sad on the inside and portraying a happy version on the outside, and therefore you have to kind of use this winter solstice to kind of be real with yourself and kind of bring yourself into balance, and to say, okay, say for instance you got a New Year's resolution but you're not emotionally balanced, then you'll get thrown off when something happens to get thrown off that New Year's resolution. And you know, where people will clown you like, oh, New Year's resolutions ain't shit, you'll never blah blah blah. But the reality is, if you mentally and emotionally prepare for adversity, but just ultimately knowing that, okay, I'm gonna be in a space where I don't have to question my spirit, where I can trust in my spirit moving forward, then okay, that gives you the proper, what would they say, launching pad to propelling yourself to your dreams. If you can just simply understand this aspect and stop trying to run from this shit, like, or to show up in a relationship with a person and think that, oh, since I don't show this side of myself, they don't know this side of myself. Well, that may be true for a lot of guys, but that shit will not work with me. That won't work with me. And you know, it's a lot of guys out here that's very intuitive. We feel, we know, and be real, be vulnerable, be 100, you know, be honest, be vulnerable, because say for instance a guy looks at you like, man, you better get out of here with that crazy shit. It's good for him to say that now, as opposed to you creating a bond with this person and diving deeper into the soul time, right? And once you reveal yourself and reveal your truth, or you know, your depression, or the things that you don't show the world, how is he gonna handle that? You want to know soon enough. You want to know sooner than later. That's just my personal opinion. But you know, winter solstice or not, man, the energy is very intense. The energy is very jam-packed based upon the stars being aligned with these fixed stars, these ancient stars that are very much coming online. Everything that is being activated by the moon's alignment to specific or particular fixed stars. So now, as we enter into a place of, you know, an ancient future of projecting and planning our lives, let's take ourselves seriously moving forward, because you are the creator of what you possibly can do in life. And hopefully I could be a testament to that particular energy of creating your life and creating your future, because not very long ago I was fledgling and, you know, saying every 10 seconds and just scratching my head. But you know, through the power of chakra work and through the power of understanding these celestials and things of that nature, I've grown exponentially, and I can only be appreciative of the listener who's supported me, whether I said every 10 seconds or whatever the case may be. My production wasn't as good as this, but still was there, still supportive, still reaching out. So, you know, you guys made 2018 fucking awesome, dog, and thank you so much. Like, thank you so much. Could not have imagined this, but I only say that to say that you need to really work with your energy, because your life is very much open and available for you to live a beautiful experience, and it's always within you, it's always available. There's very nothing much stopping you. Just kind of take a step back and really understand the energy of the solstice, which means to stand still, which means to make peace, which means to kind of go dark, kind of step away from things, and just, you know, I've been in my solstice for the past week. I really haven't been doing too much of anything besides, you know, staying consistent with the lives. But even that, throughout the weekend is a good space for me to just kind of not do anything. So I invite everybody to just chill, stand still, and be observant and let this energy play out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me throughout this week. Thanks for joining me throughout this year. Such a powerful, transformative year. I'm deciding on whether I should come back next week or should I take a week off and just come back the following week and just start 2019 off right. I don't know, but it's something that's on my mind. So, you know, talk about it with my wife and we'll just go from there, because we really talked up a whole heap of stuff. And so it really serves you, if you haven't been keeping up since this full moon in Cancer video and the subsequent videos, then to really get caught up, you know, and really understand what's really taking place. The news is good, the times are great, but it's really important for us to tap in and to really understand what's happening spiritually, because it is major. But with that being said, man, thank you, and have a great day. Peace.